Discovery Photo Adventures, and we are out today looking for a spot to take a sunset of some of the Saguaro Cactus. Trying to find some good compositions out here. We're kind of stranded in some ways on one part of the road here, left side. We can't get into the Indian reservation legally anyhow, and so things are fenced off a lot. So almost have to find some ways up on some dirt roads to get back into the hills a little bit. But great area for cactus. Very nice deserts around here. Very full of vegetation, and makes for some great shots. We are on a day trip here today. The clouds in Phoenix here turned absolutely wonderful. Big cumulus clouds up there today, which we don't always see that much, but I'll tell you, when you get them, it makes for a beautiful sunset. Well, just a general picture anytime, anywhere. But I'm scoping out a place, try to catch a cactus somewhere that might fit into a beautiful picture. Problem is, there's so many cactus out here that trying to find that just one that's not being blocked by everything else imaginable, it's pretty hard to do. But I'm looking. I'm out scoping out an area here where there's a whole bunch of mountains over this way, as you can see. It's part of the Salt River Indian Reservation here. But I spotted that one cactus there. I was wondering how that would look as a kind of a telephoto zoomed in look with those mountains in the background. I thought that'd be a good shot. Let me check over here, try to put it in perspective of those mountains and see if it even fits. Sometimes that's what you got to do, is you just kind of, it's probably hard to see from this camera, but it's straight out, big old cactus, kind of by itself, but might make the perfect composition there, just pulling that in. I'm going to pull out the camera for a minute and just see what that looks like, kind of pulled in up against those mountains in the back with that little bit of mist. But definitely the clouds are setting up for a beautiful sunset tonight. So we got our fingers crossed. We're going to keep scoping and looking for the places that add up to a beautiful picture here. So let me pull that one out and just see what happens. We're zeroed in on that cactus out there now, waiting for the sun to come out so give that nice lighting or highlights around it. So we're going to give it a shot now and see what happens. I'm going to have to set this thing up though. All right, so the sun came out, and this cactus back in here, I don't know if you can see it on the screen here, but that's the one that we were shooting for. It's kind of sitting right out there by itself with the mountains in the background. So that makes for a really nice composition. I've taken a bunch of different bracketed shots to catch the highlights and also get the cactus in exposure, and then I really push the exposure compensation to the left to kind of pull out the clouds, which are kind of blown out otherwise, and that I'll be able to put together and blend in Photoshop and get a good balance in color and clouds in those skies, and then be able to get the front also. So I think that's a good composition. We found this beautiful cactus here. I'm basically about 20 feet from it, and it's got to be 30 or 40 feet high at least. Geez, that's a big one. But here it is right here. Very nice cactus up against those beautiful blue clouds back there. I do have a polarizer on to get the clouds zoomed in there real nice. Not zoomed, but cleaned up, because a lot of times with clouds you get that white overexposure in them. The highlights blow out. So with a polarizer you can kind of control that, get the clouds really nice and crisp by turning your circular polarizer. And what I've done is gone ahead and shot a, what would you want to call it, a vertical shot of this, which I thought stood much nicer than the horizontal shot. But here's an idea of it. I'm going to turn this sideways, see if you can see it. But it's sitting like that. So the light on it from the western exposure all kind of sets it off nice. And I think we got a nice shot out of that. So, found a couple nice cactus so far today. As we wait for the sunset, I think we're going to have an amazing sunset. Fingers crossed, as always. In the meantime, I've been on a challenge to find separate solitary cactus, the Saguaro cactus, with a good, nice backdrop. And so I think I found another one. I'm going to change lens, put my longer lens on, because I've got to reach out there a little farther to get to it. So I want to be able to pull it in so I can pull the mountains back in too. So we'll get our lens changed here and we'll get cracking. The deserts today are just gorgeous out here today. So this has been kind of a day to just enjoy the walks and hikes along the highway. So let's get over and find our spot. So I'm pointing out this way to a beautiful cactus that's sitting out there with a bunch of beautiful cumulus clouds that are off in the distance. So what I'm doing is I'm probably 100 yards from that cactus and I'm pulling it in. Let's see what where I'm at on the scale here. I'm about 200 millimeter out, so I'm really pulling and sucking that in. But if I want to get some depth of field, I've got to do what's called bracketing and stacking. I bracket to get the clouds where I want them as far as not blown out and that kind of thing. But also I'm shooting two different focal points, one at the cactus and one at the clouds over there. And so when I'm done, I can blend those in Photoshop and have the background pretty much sharp and the foreground. I'm not worried about the midground too much because there's really none. It's kind of hidden by the hills back there. So I'm going to keep shooting. Today is a great time to take pictures. The sun's starting to move down in the western sky there, so we're starting to get a little bit warmer light. So all is good. As we wait for our clouds, the clouds look great over there. I think we're gonna have a good sunset. So my job now is to get back out on the road here and find the spot that I'm going to use tonight to get that absolutely amazing sunset shot. We'll see you in a bit.